Ah, yes. How about that, ladies and gentlemen? What a great opening. And thank you so much, Phil Mason. It's an absolutely awesome video for this year. And I don't know if you caught at the end, you will be able to buy the video and the MP3, and all the proceeds go to the 30-day challenge charity of choice, Kiva, which is brilliant. We are one of the loaded, collectively as a community, we are one of the largest enablers of entrepreneurs around the globe through Kiva. And it's extraordinary. For those of you who don't know what Kiva is, rather than just donate and give a person a charity donation, effectively what they are micro loans, which were pioneered by the Grameen Bank back in the 80s, so that people can actually get small loans which enable them to, whether it be buy a cow, build a well, operate a mobile phone, but create a business. So these micro loans create a business. And so rather than just giving them some money and them spending on that money, we actually finance their business. It's an extraordinary charity, and our repayment rate is like at 99%. So not only do we loan out our money every year, the amount of money that 30 Day Challenge actually donates gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger because people repay the loans. They get started in their business. I just think it's an absolutely awesome thing, and we're so glad to be proud of it. And you'll see the 30 Day Challenge annual auction will be coming shortly, and there'll be all sorts of stuff to do with that, the classic merchandise and all that sort of thing. And all the funds, all the proceeds go to Kiva, which is brilliant. And for those of you who were reminding me, thank you very much. We are recording, so which is brilliant. I can take these headphones off now, actually. I only need them when I have to listen to what's going on there. Okay, so let's get all our volume levels all sorted here. Very good. Okay. I said today I particularly wanted you to come on if you're behind, or indeed you're one of the tens of thousands of people who've actually signed up to the 30-day challenge in just the last few days. In other words, you weren't here at the start. I've got to say a huge welcome and thank you. And what I want to do today is try orientate you so that you don't get overwhelmed. There's so much material, so much to learn. I really wanted to make sure that you do that. And for those of you who are getting behind, I want to talk about some tips, some techniques, and some strategies so that you don't freak out. Now, in the old days of the 30-day challenge, the first time I did it, I had no clue where it was going or what was happening. I was creating each day's content on the day. So I thought when we first do it, we would just, do it for the 30 days and then pull down the content. Now, of course, we don't do that. We keep it open 365 days of the year. So if it takes you 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 120 days, 12 months to make your first dollar, it doesn't matter as long as you keep to it and stick to your own timetable. Caro, who is online there at the moment, and you saw Caro in today's lessons, and Caro worked so hard in that first challenge. People will remember that. She was just a participant just like yourselves, and she worked so hard and did not make her first dollar. I think it was like 60 days or something before she made her first dollar, but then went on to be very successful. So it can happen. It does happen. And I think it's far more important for you to go back and review the content, review the video, review the transcripts. Boy, how about those transcripts? Dom, double thumbs up, man. Double thumbs up. Extraordinary work with those transcripts. They are just absolutely superb. I think we're up to about day 4, day 5 on the transcripts. Somebody in the chat will clarify that. So you can always go back and review the transcripts. I love it when you watch the videos first because there's so much contextual information that you get visually as well as auditorily. That's a new word, by the way, along with salmon. And I think it's just an important element for you guys to do. So you've got all these reviews. You're much better off stopping and reviewing something rather than trying to barrel ahead with a need to keep up. Because here's what's going to happen. If you try to barrel ahead and keep up, and I've got to say, we've changed our thinking on this. We've had a look at the pedagogy of the situation. I love it when I use large words, particularly when I mispronounce them. We used to encourage you actually to just barrel along, and we've really, debated backwards and forwards about this. And we think this year that it's much more important for you to set aside that time, just getting into the habit. And Lynn Terry, my fellow Internet Marketing This Week co-host, pointed this out on our most recent Internet Marketing This Week podcast. Totally free, by the way. Heartily recommended. But Lynn was saying, and she was absolutely right, that one of the things that she thinks is the best thing about the 30-day challenge is it actually gets you into the habit of working on your internet marketing business every single day. And that's a smart thing, with the rest on the weekend. Which brings me to my next section, because there are rests. We build into the 30-day challenge rest days. There are 4 of them. So people can catch up, or they can have a break, or whatever they want to do. And the heaviest days are the days that we have just done. So it gets easier from now on. So there's huge opportunities to catch up. You don't have to freak out about it. See, what happens is people, rather than get behind, they think, oh, I'll just drop it and, I'll go out and do some jet skiing or windsurfing or something funner that you guys are doing there in the Northern Hemisphere summer. I'd rather you not do that this year. I'd rather you take your time, go back over the other day's content, and as long as you dedicate yourself, and even if you just do 30 minutes a day, you're going to make a massive difference. Now, having said all of that, why do I encourage people, even if you've just joined us in the last day, why do I encourage you to make the biggest effort to do it in August? And the reason is the support up here. Like, we literally have, there are, 14 odd moderators around the clock. We have at least 2 covering the forums in every single time zone. Time zone day, if you will. We have people monitoring Twitter. We have people monitoring Facebook. We have this huge effort of people monitoring and watching what's going on. The Market Samurai team have got people working around the clock. Marty at WordPress Direct have people around the clock. The completely new thing that's going to completely blow your mind on day 8, they have people ready around the clock. All of these people are here to get you through in August. You're never ever going to have as much support available for nothing than you do right now. So that's why I encourage you to make as much effort as possible in August, because you're never going to have more help. Because in September, we're all in rehab. Seriously, it is an extraordinary effort. And so that's why I really encourage you to do that. And you've got, as I say, you've got catch-up days. You've got forum support. You know that the hardest days of the challenge are behind you now, or if you're coming up to them, the first 6 days are absolutely the toughest. It gets downhill from here, and it just makes such a difference to do the challenge now. I hope that makes sense. And that you guys feel that way. Because it's, when else are you going to have the opportunity to have this many people, on a professional basis, put together all of this and have it supplied to you without it costing you a cent? When? I'll tell you. It'll be probably August 2010. So why not now? Why not now? And the most important thing you can say to yourself is, right, I'm going to give this an hour a day, or I'm going to give this 2 hours a day, and I'm going to get as much as I can done in that hour. and you will have achieved something because you will have put 30 hours under your belt by the time you finish this month. And let me tell you, 30 solid hours of taking action will make such a difference to you compared to most other people who just spend their time watching videos and consuming educational product and not lifting their finger. So as they say in New Zealand, we want you to pull finger and get going and get cracking. Oops, what was that beeping at me? No. Very good. Okay, good. Just checking. Now, next thing I wanted to talk about was domain names and hosting and that sort of thing. As you heard me say on the introduction video, we desperately try to make everything available for free during the 30-day challenge. All of our providers, Market Samurai, WordPress Direct, the most amazing thing you've ever seen coming on day 8, all of these things, let alone tomorrow, day 7. My goodness, day 7 is extraordinary. Extraordinary. Day 7 and day 8. Lordy, lordy, lordy. You just do not believe what is coming tomorrow and the next day. But all of that is provided free. We do it for free, and you've got versions which enable, nobody requires credit cards, any of those sorts of things. We insist on it. Now, of course, with the domain and the hosting, that's obviously we don't provide domains, so we can't provide them for free. There's a cost to that. And it's about, $8 for each one of those, a domain and some hosting. And I just wanted to, point out to people, particularly if, you're really economically challenged, what some of the things that you can do. And I've got to say, my favorite thing for raising quick cash, absolutely the most reliable thing is eBay. Seriously. I use eBay all the time. I sell guitars and cameras and electronics that I don't use anymore. I literally use it all the time. I have a lot of fun with it because I practice my internet marketing. Pardon me, sorry. And if you look at it, from the perspective of internet marketing practice as well as selling, a lot of the stuff we do, particularly in weeks 2 and 3, you can absolutely apply to your eBay auctions. What I do is I start everything off with no reserve, so I guarantee I'll sell it. Because if I don't, here's the thing, if I don't want it, if I want to get rid of it, I want to make sure I sell it. So I have zero reserve, and usually, in fact, 99.99% of the time, the market will find the correct price for it. And it's just a brilliant way of getting rid of clutter, selling old books, old magazines, you've got anything, old lenses, whatever it happens to be, you can sell, and it's just brilliant. And that can give you that little bit of extra cash to fund your online adventures. And I just think it's a cool thing to do elsewhere. And of course, the beauty of it is if you write up your eBay listing like you would encourage somebody and write an article or write something of interest, tell a story, it's really good practice as well. It just makes such a difference to the auction if you actually tell a bit of a story about what you're selling. And so that's something that I just want to throw out there as a tip. It's something that I do, and I really recommend, people have got stuff lying around, and even if you get a few bucks for it, fantastic. Make sure they pay the postage and set up your listing like that, and it's all done. And for me, when I started doing this big time on eBay, was there are all these companies out there that will do all the packaging and shipping for you. Here in Australia, we have a company called Pack and Send, and for $15, and most of the stuff I sell tends to make hundreds of dollars in terms of what I sell. And for $15, they handle all of the packing and the wrapping, and they come and pick it up from my door. They literally come and pick it up, and it's superb. It just works an absolute treat. So that was something else that I wanted to just raise with you guys today and talk to you about that. Now, they're the first two things that I wanted to talk about. The final thing before we have a short break and we go into question and answers, and I'm very excited. We've got Marty Rosensmith from WordPress Direct online, ready to answer your questions about WordPress Direct, and we'll talk through those. So any questions that you've got, Caro will be picking those out and forwarding them through to me. So that will be very exciting. But the final thing I want to do, and somebody tweeted to me and said, Ed, don't overhype. And I actually sent back to them and said, what have I overhyped so far? There is no question that that monetization module in Market Samurai was extraordinary, and some very, very grizzled veterans, if you look at the Twitter stream, Alison Reynolds, I'm thinking of you, who do not throw around compliments lightly, just adored what it did. Tomorrow, let me tell you, you ain't seen nothing yet. Day 7, and what you're going to see in day 7 will blow you away. It's that simple. I'm not overhyping. Come back to me tomorrow and tell me if you think I'm overhyped. It is going to be an extraordinary day. It really is. You really need to check it out. Even if you're, I often say, I'll tell veterans when to check it out. Veteran alert. If you're a veteran, an experienced internet marketer, you are still going to want to arrive on day 7 and see what is in store, because it is phenomenal. And then, just to make things even more juicy, on day 8, we have a completely new free for the 30-day challenge service, which is just going to make your life so much easier. And here's the cool thing. The cool thing, it was created by somebody who did the 30-day challenge last year and has taken the elements that he found the most painful and made them push button, which is just so impressive. I love the fact that people are going through the 30-day challenge and they're getting involved in internet marketing. They do these things and then they're discovering new ways of doing things and then feeding them back into the community and supporting the community. To me, that is absolutely extraordinary. And so very excited. Please do not miss day 7 and day 8. Do not miss them. Of course, if you just started, don't worry. Day 7 and day 8 will still be there. Don't jump ahead to day 7 and day 8, because if you jumped ahead to day 7 to see what we're going to show you in day 7, it wouldn't be anywhere near as useful unless you had done the first 6 days. Okay? So if that makes sense, don't jump ahead. But when you get to day 7, you're going to be blown away. And then you're going to get to day 8 and you're going to be more blown away. So make sure you do that. And that's fantastic. Now, 2 final things that I want to talk about before we have a break for question and answers. The first one is I've been getting a lot of email about the fact that 30-day challenge is going public in the US. Yes, we're listing on the stock market. Now, this is not the appropriate forum to talk about that. All I can say is if you're an accredited investor or a sophisticated investor, and if you are, you'll know what those terms mean, then you should go to www.30dc Inc. That's 30dcinc.com. And you'll see that there's some information there. Rather than me, I don't want to confuse the live challenge with what we're doing in terms of going public in the United States. So, but as always, these things run into each other. So if you know what I just said, that's a pretty good qualifier, then please go to, and if somebody can pop it up, www.30dcinc.com in the forum, and you can read and see what we're talking about there. And that's where all the information regarding the listing and all of that sort of thing is going on, which will be great. We're very excited to have some founder shareholders, and they're going to get some pretty amazing shareholder benefits, which is brilliant. So there was that. The final thing, and I've got my email closed down, but I got a letter from Michelle Frost from Tasmania. Now, Michelle, 5 kids, great husband, and original 30DCer, has been doing some extraordinary things in Tasmania. That's the state at the very bottom, the little island, one of the most beautiful places on the world. Friends of ours ask us, where should you go in Australia? I think Tasmania is the absolute hidden gem. And I got an email from her last night, and she is doing a whole bunch of e-commerce workshops throughout Tasmania for women in business. And it's so exciting because I want to say a big shout out to all of you, because a lot of you are doing the 30-day challenge this year. So welcome aboard. I'm surprised actually more people don't use the 30-day challenge in their business practices. I really don't. Why not put your clients through the 30-day challenge? No problem with us if you do that. And the information that you get for small businesses is huge. But anyway, so Michelle saw this, did this, which is brilliant. Now, while we speak today, Michelle is on ABC Radio, which is the public broadcaster, talking about what she's doing with women in business inside the inside Taz. And also, I'm just trying to read and talk here. Yeah, so she's on the ABC, and she's going on and talking about the internet and marketing and all of that sort of stuff. So she's created an extraordinary business for herself out of the 30-day challenge, which I'm so proud of her. If there's anybody who deserves a big slap on the back, and there are countless stories with the 30-day challenge where people, even if they hadn't actually, and Michelle was very successful, but even if they hadn't actually gone on to make their dollar, the changes that it's made, and if you look at the Hall of Fame and you look at all of the different, I see there's somebody in the that attended Michelle's workshop and was saying is brilliant. That is fantastic. Well done. Oh my goodness, over 1,000 people here. Hello to everybody. I just think it's brilliant. And even, just the lessons that you learn and the changes in direction. There are so many great stories about people who have got, new businesses, they do consulting, they do all sorts of things which they can trigger back to just being able to dedicate yourself for that extra half an hour, extra hour a day during the 30-day challenge. And the point is, and this is a really interesting point. If you look at I went and, let me tell you, crazy times. I went and lived with my mentor, Gary Halbert, in Miami. Extraordinary. He's passed away, R.I.P. But it was a brilliant experience. And the reason it was such a good experience, it was not for what he verbally told me. It's with what I saw. And what I mean by that is, I noticed, for example, that when he wrote copy, he's the greatest copywriter the world had seen, he would set an alarm clock and he'd set it to 50 minutes. He would hit that. It was a little kitchen timer, and he would write, and his pen would not stop for the 50 minutes. But when that bell rang, boom, he was done. That was it. That was the day's copywriting done. And what you start to realize is that the most creative people, because, oh, goodness me, it's the most creative people are, my iPhone going off, the most creative people are not born with some inbred creative talent. Quite the opposite. They have a talent of showing up and doing some work on their chosen creative pursuit for a set period of time every single day. And they do the work every single day. I find that concept extraordinarily exciting, because it's not about how, the genes that you were born with, or that you have a particular predication. So many of these, child geniuses, for example, that we see on piano and so on. Brilliant documentary I saw while I was in London last year. It's not that they have some particular inbred talent. If they have a talent, it's the talent of sticking. They actually train, and they train for many hours a day. Whereas most kids at that age can't. They just can't sit still for that long. So if there is a genetic thing, it's their ability to sit there and do the work for an extended period of time, concentrate for an extended period of time. It's not that they've got a particular talent. People talk about, Mozart, and they talk about, he was a genius and wrote his first symphony at 6. 2 comments on that. First, the first symphony he wrote was crap. He did write one at 6, but it was sucked. It was really shocking. Point 2, I think he got it. It wasn't until he got his about 30th symphony under his belt that they actually started being the extraordinary works that they were. I knew my 7th grade musicianship would come in so handy. The second point is, and I'm not sure if you knew this, do you know who Mozart's parents were? His father was one of the best piano teachers on the planet at the time. He was an extraordinary part of the planet. You know, people look at the Beatles and they say about the Beatles, and they say, well, look at the Beatles. They were extraordinarily talented. Look, they burst on the scene in 1962 and never looked back. What people don't know is that they played in, shall we say, gentlemen's clubs in Germany, in Hamburg, where they would play 8-hour sets 7 days a week. So they got more playing time under their belt than probably any band in history ever at that period of time, if not now. It was an extraordinary amount of time where they just got to practice their craft. And people don't see this. If you want a couple of great books on the topic, Malcolm Gladwell, Outliers, is a brilliant book on this subject and where I got those examples from. And there's also another one which is called The Creative Habit by Twyla Tharp, Tharp. 2 brilliant books, which I loved dearly this year. So there we have it. That's our pre-show. What we are going to do is we are going to have a break. We're going to come back with questions and answers. So go have a drink, do whatever you need to do, and we'll be back shortly, and we will see you. So thanks for joining us today, and I hope you get that main message is don't stop believing. Don't stop. Do what you can in the time of the day that you've dedicated this, but most importantly, just do the work inside that time. And if you dedicate 30 periods of time over the next 30 days, you are going to have a dramatically different result to where you are today. It's that simple. It's science. It's physics. As long as you put in the time. All right, with that, we will speak to you soon. And why not, let's go out with our fantastic 30-day challenge theme song. All right, don't go away. We've got Q&A after the break.
Yo, 2K9 TDC, everybody online, yeah, you and me. Can you feel the love? Can you feel it online? August rolls around, baby, time to shine. Big Bad Ed, yeah, he the man. The I Am King with a trusted plan. You got Rain Man 2 with his G and bling bling. And a gorgeous Carol, always doing a thing.
Looking for a better way to use my time. Searching for a better time to live my life.
Hoping for a better life to give to mine. And then you find 30 days that come along.